Here follows an extract from my book Artful Designs, available from Amazon. Chapter 13, Part 3. An informal gathering had been arranged in the usual rendezvous of Beth's kitchen. Here James and Maddox could pool their findings, and the sense of being off timetable helped them to think more freely. It also meant that they got decent and regular brews, with the addition of a plentiful supply of cake. It also meant that Beth could join in the discussion, and DCI Benedict James always valued his twin sister's input. She had a flair for viewing things from what she described as the domestic angle, and, as every villain also had an everyday persona, it was a surprisingly revealing viewpoint. "You were in on the action then, Maddox. Fancy your mum's tippier Sam Tealoaf sparking off the young villain," said James. "Excuse me, Benji, did you say tippier Sam Tealoaf?" asked Beth. "I did indeed. Does that give you insight into a breakthrough clue?" said Benedict. "No," Beth laughed, "but it does make me wonder how news travels so fast. That's my own recipe. I made it for the WI last week, and I gave my recipe to Eileen for her tea room." "Mum did say that she got the recipe from someone in the WI. She doesn't claim intellectual copyright," said Maddox, hasty to make amends. "Steady on, Beth. Good food is for sharing. And you know that WI upholds mutual friendship and education," said Benedict. "Oh, I'm not guarding trade secrets. You should know me better than that. I'm just surprised at how quickly it's done the rounds. It is delicious. The strong malty tea and the dark muscovado makes a winning combination. I've got some here if you want to try some," said Beth. "That's more like it. In the name of research, we'll all have a slice," said Benedict. Beth set to slicing and buttering the fruit loaf, and the conversation returned to more serious matters. "I hardly know what to make of Finn's outburst," said Benedict. "What are the main points we should be considering?" The nurse doubted whether we could put any weight upon anything that Finn said then. She explained that, in layman terms, as the neurons reconnect after their shaking, they can fire off in any direction while the brain tries to piece things together again, said Maddox. Finn just shouted Theo's name a few times, with intermittent ramblings, then clutched at Scott and begged for help. It's all very melodramatic. The nurse said that he saw Scott and told him that they were a team, and then begged him to help him and save him. Make of that what you will. It's so frustrating that he was sedated again. He might have calmed down and then told you all you need to know, said Beth. I'm told it's not just a matter of emotional trauma that concerns the medical staff if he gets agitated. The nurse was concerned about his physical fragility. The swelling on his brain had reduced as he lay quiet, but this brief moment of fraught consciousness has made his brain rather inflamed again. They need to keep him quiet so as to let his body go through the natural healing process as best it can. There's not much more that they can do at this stage, and any complications can soon become serious where the brain is involved, explained Maddox. Do we attempt to follow any potential leads from what he said? Is there anything we can infer from Finn's ramblings, or do we discount it all as rubbish, said Beth. There's no way such ramblings and incoherent outbursts can hold any official sway or be remotely considered as evidence. Maybe he shouted Theo's name because he started to piece together recent events, starting with the impromptu tour Theo gave him. Perhaps he was shouting out as he remembered Theo squeezing the life out of him and tipping him into the dustbin, said Benedict. Goodness, I'm so glad he didn't just randomly shout out Drew's name, said Beth. What can we guess from when he recognised Scott? Asked Maddox. Was he begging a friend to help him and reminding him of their ties of friendship before Scott turned over a new leaf? Or was he referring to a more recent partnership in crime, continued Beth. As things stand, we can have no way of guessing. We certainly can't go herring off casting aspersions based on the ramblings of a semi-conscious petty crook, said Benedict. However, I'm not willing to discount any thread or lead. We can't afford to totally ignore anything. We'll have to just quietly bear all of these things in mind and see what fits together as we follow the breadcrumbs, said Benedict. Speaking of breadcrumbs, it appears that I only have crumbs on my plate. You can at least remedy that problem, Beth. Dish up the tea in all its forms, please. If you're having seconds, I'll call Drew through. We can't let him miss out on a helping, said Beth. She banged on the silver service bell to summon Drew through to the kitchen. Knowing that the bell heralded food or drink, usually both, Drew was prompt in cleaning his brushes and joining the party in the kitchen. This won't do, you know, said Benedict. We can't allow this case to beat us. We've a reputation as a team to maintain. I know that Munro said that these cases could go on for years, decades even, but I'm not prepared to accept that. We're a dynamic team and we can crack this. Let's have another go at things now that we're properly fortified. We need to try a different angle. We need to be more abstract in our thinking. This is an art case after all. Beth, I know you'll have set your mind to this. What are your thoughts? I have been thinking about this a lot, said Beth. I'm not sure that my train of thought is particularly helpful, though, I'm afraid. Never mind about that. This is unofficial, said Benedict. We're just throwing ideas around. Let's get the creative juices flowing and see what follows. My mind has been whirring ever since we went to that marvellous dinner party at Hyacinth's for Conrad's birthday, said Beth. My mind has been whirring ever since I discovered that Conrad Jefferson was closely linked to the Whitworth Art Gallery and a prominent member of the committee. But we'll let that lie for now, said Benedict. You must follow your own lines of inquiry, Benji, said Beth. You said you wanted some abstract thinking, and so here are my thoughts. I've been trying to find out about historic art thefts. It was our discussion of the parallel timelines of art, literature and music while we were having coffee and truffles. Somehow that got me thinking about historic art crimes. You obviously attend very different parties to me, laughed Maddox. I'll admit that it was an unusual one, said Drew. It was a rare treat to indulge in such chatter and to play the piano with Theo. I'm really looking forward to our next get-together, said Beth. After that evening, I've become fascinated with the subject of art crimes, and I've read of some really bizarre accounts. Did you know that a Van Gogh was stolen in a similar heist to the Constable theft? That got me thinking. I'm not quite sure what it's made me think, but I've a funny feeling that it might help in the end. I know all about your funny feelings, and I know better than to ignore them, said Benedict. You must follow the train of your thought as you think fit. Don't ignore your gut instinct. Sometimes we call it a hunch, but it's the start of a half-faint thought, and when it's fully formed it becomes a sensible fact that was just waiting to mature in your mind. If you need any help, you know that you only have to ask. Drew is a bottomless pit of knowledge, so I keep pestering him for information. I've got plenty of textbooks to go at too. There is just one thing that I want to know, said Beth. What's that, Beth? Asked Benedict. What is the exact size of the stolen artwork? Said Beth. You're asking me for the exact proportions of the missing piece, asked Benedict. Why on earth do you want to know that? I don't really know why I'm asking, but I want to know nevertheless. Don't give me a vague idea. I want the exact proportions, said Beth. I've got a good idea off the top of my head, but if you leave it with me, I can tell you exactly, said Drew. I'll go back through my talk for the WI and check. It's on my laptop, so I'll find it easily enough without bothering them at the museum. James and Maddox exchanged confused glances and then shrugged their shoulders. No doubt all would become clear eventually. For the full book of Artful Designs, available in paperback or as an ebook, follow the link in the cards in the description box or find details on my website at sharonbill.com. Thanks for listening.